So who remembers what the Pythagorean theorem was? And what do we have to remember about C has to be the hypotenuse, and that has to be the one on its by itself. Okay, then we went into, oh, sorry, something else about Pythagorean theorem. When can you use it?
When you're using two sides.
When you know two sides and you're looking for the third of a right triangle. Key thing, it has to be in a right triangle. Okay, then we went on to sine, cosine, and tangent. So if our angle here is theta, angle A, what would be sine of our angle? So start by labeling your sides. So we go across from our angle, and that's our opposite. Hypotenuse is across from the right angle, and adjacent's the third one. So Robert, what was C? Or what was sine?
AC.
A over C. Cosine?
B over C.
B over C. And tangent?
A over C, or A over B.
A over B, opposite over adjacent. What's the acronym we can use to help us remember? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay, down here is kind of a, or also real quick. Again, sine, cosine, and tangent are only good in right triangles. So what we did right here, again, it has to be a right triangle. If it's not a right triangle, it doesn't work. Okay, then we went into using inverses, and we only used inverse trig when we didn't know what x was. So if we were going to solve for theta. So for example, if I was going to do sine of theta equals 3 over 5, to move the sine to the other side, we would have to inverse it. So sine inverse of 3 over 5. So whenever you don't know the angle and that's your variable that you're solving for, that's where inverses get used. Okay, we also did special right triangles in this unit. We had two of them. We had the 45, 45, 90 and the 30, 60, 90. What's the pattern for a 45, 45, 90? A and A for the legs, the hypotenuse, A root 2. Okay, what's the pattern for the 30, 60, 90? Okay, where do I start though? Start across from 30, that's your A. Where does the 2A go? On the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 2A, and the adjacent side, A root 3. And then lastly, we did angles of elevation and angles of depression. The key thing to remember is that both of these are measured. It's talking about measuring an angle from a horizontal line. So if we're measuring from the horizontal up, that's our angle of elevation. If we're measuring from a horizontal down, that's our angle of depression. That's Unit 7. That was all we did. We just did a lot of different problems using those few ideas. So do you have to know all these for the final? Yeah. You need to know your 30, 60, 90s. You need to know your sine, cosine, tangent, and when to use the inverse, as well as when to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So, let's see. Any questions you guys have on the trig stuff at this point? It was the most recent thing we did, so it should be the freshest in your memory. Keyword should be. Any questions that you guys have on Unit 7?